Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right, so this is Lori and Kristen, and we should probably have Helena here too, but goodness, COVID complicates things. So,
it sure does.
But what I hope it doesn't complicate for you all is your ability to celebrate this Thanksgiving. I know it's going to look different for everyone, but gosh, it's such an important holiday, one where we slow down and we appreciate, we reflect on what we can appreciate in life. We express gratitude to those that we love. And really the only thing that we're expected to do is gather around a table and enjoy a great meal with our loved ones.
Yeah. And I think this year will be the year where anything goes. Try new things, start new traditions, do something different this year.
That's right. The Taylor family's having a taco bar at my sister-in-law's house.
I'll be there.
Yeah, but we definitely are looking forward to celebrating more in a more intimate manner. But I do know I'm sensitive to the fact that this is just everyone in the produce industry is aware that unprecedented times continue for us all. But hopefully Thanksgiving is still a moment where we can pause and fill up our heart with a bunch of gratitude.
Absolutely. I still think we all have a lot to be thankful for. It's just finding that, and like you said, an intimate setting where we'll still be with family, and take on some new traditions this year.
That's right. So when we were thinking about, gosh, what do we say on the day before Thanksgiving? We just thought really the best thing to do for this episode is to let, the people of the produce industry talk. So that's exactly what we've done. We've gathered about a dozen or so of our, some of our closest friends, the folks that help us and support us at TPM, people that have really unique stories and backgrounds and stakeholds with this industry. Some people you've met or know before, you're going to recognize their brands. Others, this will be our first time to introduce you to them or their brand. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a great episode. And from myself, Kristen, Helena, Alex, the whole team at the Produce Moms, happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy this episode. Okay, happy Thanksgiving. Now we are on to mushrooms, not just any mushrooms, Monterey Mushrooms, and we are welcoming Brian Jenny. Brian is the Vice President of Sales for Monterey Mushrooms, and he is joining us now on our special edition Thanksgiving episode. So Brian, welcome.
Good afternoon, Lori. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you. It's so wonderful to have you here and to talk about mushrooms. It is, I think it's kind of almost an understatement to say that mushrooms have become, just such a force and so popular for all households over the last several months.
It is. It is one of the fastest growing categories in the produce industry. Plant-based diets and nutrition and health continue to be extreme strong trends, and mushrooms fit all those. And mushrooms are high in vitamin D. They're also a superfood, and there's a lot of applications with mushrooms. They fit through every day part, breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can do a lot of different things. They're very versatile. They're very good for you.
And perfect for Thanksgiving, right?
They are. They're perfect for Thanksgiving. So
I know for a fact, it has to be green bean casserole is the top way that mushrooms are consumed on Thanksgiving. But we want to encourage everyone to do 100% fresh ingredient green bean casseroles and specifically go look for those Monterey mushrooms. So what would you recommend in terms of the different varieties? I think a lot of folks look at that expanding section in the produce department of mushrooms and might find themselves a little overwhelmed, not knowing what variety to pick or how to prep them, how to wash mushrooms is always a top question we receive.
Well, one of the fastest growing items in the mushroom category are baby bellas or creminis, as their agriculture term is, for lack of a better term. The category is really shifting where more people are buying more brown mushrooms than they are white mushrooms compared to what it was 10 to 15 years ago. So you're exactly right. You take a green bean casserole where you're already using the traditional green bean casserole, you're already using cream of mushroom soup. Take an 8-ounce package of baby bellas and put them in there with fresh green beans, and you're just adding more nutrition and you're adding more to that,
more flavor.
More flavor. So that's what my family does. We take an 8-ounce package of baby bellas and a fresh package of 16-ounce green beans, and we mix it in with the milk and the cream of mushroom soup. And of course, you got to have the French onions. It is Thanksgiving. You got to have a little splurging.
That's right.
But it just adds a little bit more to it. It makes it a little bit of a healthier dish. So everybody should try to put 8 ounces of baby bella mushrooms in the green bean casserole.
I love that. All right. We've officially thrown down the Thanksgiving challenge from Brian Jenny himself. So, all right. So when folks get their 8 ounces of mushrooms, how do you want them to wash them? I've heard mixed advice on this. Some people say, put the mushrooms in a strainer and wash them under cold running water the way you would any other produce item. And then I've heard some people say that when you do that, it can almost turn the mushroom texture soggy. So you're better off washing them with a rag. What are your thoughts on that? How does Monterey Mushrooms recommend it?
Either way would work. My family does it in a colander. Yeah. Now you don't want the water running on them for 15 minutes, but it's just enough to, a little bit of the compost or a little bit of what maybe on the product is pasteurized. So there's nothing in there that's not, clean or safe, but you can do it both ways. A little bit of a colander just for, 10 to 15 seconds. Or you can also do it with a rag, but you don't want to do it for 20 minutes, for lack of a better term.
Right. That's when you get into that, to affecting the texture.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So fascinating. All right, Brian, you've already shared how your family does with the green bean casserole, adding the fresh ingredients. Any other traditional Thanksgiving recipes for the Brian Jenny family?
We do, just like everybody does. We always cook more food than you're going to eat on Thanksgiving Day. And one of the big traditions for us has always been leftovers. Is, this year it'll be a different gathering. There may be less people due to what's going on in the country with the pandemic. But, my mother-in-law has this great recipe for turkey tetrazzini, which is 2 cups of turkey, 16 ounces of white mushrooms, and you make it a day or two later after Thanksgiving. And it just is a great dish with some fettuccine. And you kind of mix it together and you kind of bake it with some crusty white bread. And that is always a staple in our house. It's usually not Friday. It's usually Saturday after Thanksgiving. My wife makes turkey tetrazzini, but once again, it's another opportunity to get more mushrooms and get rid of the leftover turkey.
That's right. And you mentioned previously the vitamin D component is so important, especially as we all do our best to stay healthy during this pandemic. Tell us a little bit more about vitamin D and Monterey Mushrooms.
Well, Monterey Mushrooms has invested a lot of technology and a lot of time in a process where we do have mushrooms that are vitamin D enhanced. And you eat 8 ounces of Monterey mushrooms on a daily basis, you get 100% of your daily allowance of vitamin D. And we know that is extremely important. If you listen to a lot of the experts that are talking about what we're going through with the pandemic, that vitamin D is one of the most important ways for your body to stay healthy and to, potentially give you a little bit of till we have a little bit of a vaccine, I guess, for lack of a better term, give you your body a chance to
a natural immunity boosting food for sure. Yeah. So, And just so everyone listening understands, it's a totally natural process. We've had Monterey Mushrooms on the podcast before, back in January 2020, before the world changed. They were on, and we talked about the vitamin D line the vitamin D mushrooms that they have. And it's as simple as exposing the product to sunlight before you put it in the package.
That's exactly it. It's UVB light, which is extremely safe, and we run it under for a certain amount of time. And the mushroom has its own way to bring out the vitamin D, and it's like you said, it's safe, it's effective, and it's 100% natural.
It's wonderful. Well, Brian, happy Thanksgiving to you, your family, and everyone at Monterey Mushrooms. We're so thankful to work with you all here at the Produce Moms, and thanks for being part of this episode.
Thank you very much, Laura. You have a great Thanksgiving as well, and happy to see your Hoosiers are doing very well.
That's right. Go Hoosiers.
Have a great day. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, continuing on. Happy Thanksgiving. We are so excited. Our next guest is coming to us representing the wonderful world of fresh herbs, Don Helms. Don is with the That's Tasty brand, one of our brand partners at the Produce Moms. That's the brand that is grown by the good people at Shenandoah Growers. And Don, we're so glad you're here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you, Lori. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season, takes time to be thankful for everything that we have in this crazy, volatile year that we're in. It's a great way to just really take a moment to relax, take stock of things and those that you love and people and the food that you love, and just really take the stress out of the holiday.
Yes, amen to that. Thank you, Don. And I would love, fresh herbs, like Thanksgiving, it's your big, this is it. This is the big deal day, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So shed some light on how the Thanksgiving demand compares to the rest of the year.
Well, it's a small increase. It's only about a 400% increase over our normal volume for Thanksgiving. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
We call it the EKG chart, because it's like you're going along and then all of a sudden you have the heart attack and the spike goes away. It's great. I've never worked in a more seasonal business than this. So it's Thanksgiving, and then Christmas isn't far behind. So it turns out to be a pretty crazy few weeks for us here.
And top sellers: sage, rosemary,
thyme, basil, sage, rosemary, thyme. Those are really the big ones.
The staples for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So tell us how does everyone at Shenandoah Growers want folks to use their That's Tasty herbs this holiday season?
Well, we want everyone to get the absolute most flavor out of their food that they can over the holidays. So we post a lot of things, a lot of recipes and different ways of using herbs. And one of our most popular year after year is a turkey brine recipe, because having grown up in the South, it's there's a lot of pride in that turkey, and I'm sure that's true all around the country. But that turkey, the bird's got to be perfect, right? And that just makes for a perfect Thanksgiving. And the best way to do that is really to put all the flavor that you can into it, because it's such a blank canvas, so it'll absorb a lot of flavor. So we developed a brine recipe a few years ago that includes a number of those. I've got it
actually pulled up on your website. You want me to read it out for the folks listening?
Sure.
Okay, so obviously the first ingredient, everyone, is your turkey. So this recipe is mindful of a turkey that's going to be 15 to 20 pounds in size. All right, so you're going to need the scale ingredients one way or the other, depending on the size of your bird. All right, 1 cup of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of whole peppercorns, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of the That's Tasty garlic puree, 6 sprigs of That's Tasty organic thyme, 4 stems of That's Tasty organic sage, 4 That's Tasty organic bay leaves, 1 sprig of That's Tasty organic rosemary, 2 oranges cut into wedges, 1 lemon cut into wedges, and 1.5 gallons of cold water. So that's your ingredient. All right. Directions: rub a half a cup of salt all over the outside of the turkey. Place turkey inside a large pot or container and fill with the remaining ingredients. Refrigerate overnight. Remove the turkey and discard the brine. Pat the turkey with paper towels and roast according to your desired method. So potentially, like, from an execution standpoint, one of the easiest recipes we've ever promoted. Like, you kind of put everything into a big container and refrigerate. But Don, explain to folks how this makes a world of a difference. And everyone, good news, like, this show drops on Wednesday, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. There's still time. Like, you can do this.
Yes, it is. It's very simple to do. You can buy a lot of the ingredients and the herbs in a prepackaged poultry blend that we sell this time of year. So you can go out and look for that in either a living plant or already in a fresh cut clamshell. But the way it works is that these are very aromatic, flavor forward herbs. And they all have a very distinctive flavor. And of course, garlic and salt and pepper are the basic fundamentals of flavor. But allowing that turkey to just marinate in those juices, it really starts to absorb into the meat of the turkey all of those flavors, and they work so well together. So it really infuses the turkey with the flavors of those herbs and seasonings. And so when you start cooking the turkey, you don't burn all the flavor off the top, right? Because it's already absorbed into the turkey. And then, of course, when you finish, you can also add your own herbs, your own fresh herbs at the end of the cooking process to really kind of reinforce and layer that flavor so that you really get that throughout. And the citrus also adds a tremendous amount. That acid really makes the flavor pop. So it really gives you a balanced flavor, and one that people will be asking you how in the world you did that, because it'll be the best turkey they've ever had.
I'm doing it. I'm 100% doing it and I'm hoping whoever's listening that's eating Thanksgiving with me, you better say to me, how did you do that? So that I can use the line Don just said. No, truly, I'm a huge advocate for brining turkeys. I think it makes a world of a difference. But mostly, like, oh my gosh, fresh herbs. It will change your life in the kitchen, folks.
Well, my grandmother was a fabulous cook. I think everybody's grandmother was a fabulous cook.
That's right.
But she would do that it wasn't that recipe per se, obviously, but she always brined chicken before she would fry chicken. And Southern grandmothers fried chicken. If they brine, then that's the right thing to do, because that made it, just that brine just brings out the flavor of the bird. Yeah. So when you add the layers of all of those herbs and the garlic, it really creates quite a culinary feast for you.
I'd say so. Well, Don, so thankful that you're here today, and appreciate all that you've done for helping the produce moms educate our audience on the That's Tasty brand and all the great ways to use fresh herbs and the products that you sell. Don has a unique background in mixology, so I want to make sure that that we get you on record, Don. What's the best cocktail?
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Well, I did most of my restaurant and experience was in the Mexican restaurant world, and the most popular drink in the United States, and it's not even close, is the margarita. And so I get a lot of questions about how to make a great margarita. And what I say is that you have to have the freshest possible ingredients. So it's a really simple drink to make. And so you get fresh limes and lemons. The hardest part is you got to squeeze all those limes and lemons and make simple syrup. So, the numbers kind of depend. You do it a little bit on taste, and you just kind of got to feel your way there a little bit. But let's say you had, 10 lemons, 10 limes, you squeeze them, and then you make either simple syrup, which is just sugar and water. You dissolve the sugar in the water, or you can also use agave syrup, which was more of like it's the sugar from the agave plant, which tequila is distilled from, and you can use that to sweeten it instead of simple syrup. And so I like it a little tart, so I added a little bit at a time, and I taste it until I get just the right level of sweetness, and that'll be a little bit different for everybody. But if you like a sweeter margarita, then obviously you're going to use more of the simple syrup. If you like it tartar, you might just use a little bit less. And then I recommend that you have to buy good tequila. So the mistake a lot of people make is they just go buy the base level tequila. And what I always tell everyone to look for when you buy tequila is make sure that it says 100% pure agave or 100% puro de agave. And what that means is that the entire liquid is distilled from the agave plant. It can be called tequila if it's at least 51% from agave.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But if the balance can be a sugar distillate. So almost everyone that I've talked to about tequila says, "Oh, I can't drink tequila. I got so sick on it, in college or whatever." And it was always cheap tequila. And that's it, because it wasn't really pure tequila. It had a lot of that sugar impurity in it, and that's what really causes that terrible hangover that people associate with tequila. But it's really like any other spirit. A good quality spirit is no more likely to give you a headache than any other quality spirit, right?
That's right.
And
so
then
let's not ruin Thanksgiving with an unbrined turkey or cheap tequila, folks.
Exactly. And then the last component is getting I like to use a good orange liqueur, you can go really expensive and you can use Grand Marnier or Cointreau, but you could also just use a simple, a good
triple sec?
A good triple sec or a good orange liqueur that's maybe not quite as expensive, but and then mix that in. I usually do about for a good margarita, and do it in a shaker. I'll do say 2 ounces of tequila, about an ounce of the orange liqueur, and then 4 ounces of that mix, of that simple syrup mix. Shake it up, strain it over ice, and then squeeze a little fresh lime right over the top.
Yum.
And
all right.
you can adjust those proportions to your own taste till you find it where you like it. And then you get to drink a few, so you say you're doing research. That helps too.
That's perfect. I love it. Well, I know how I'm celebrating Thanksgiving. Don, thank you so much for being part of this special edition episode. We appreciate it, and we thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, and wish everyone a very, very happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving. It's not Thanksgiving until the potatoes show up. And that's exactly what's just happened here in this special edition Thanksgiving episode. We are welcoming the one, the only Spud Love. His real name is Eric Beck. He's calling in today from the great state of Idaho, a state that for many of us is synonymous with potatoes. And he is with Wada Farms, our our wonderful brand partners at the Produce Moms. Love working with them. And we found out from, actually, shout out to Denise. She's currently with Perry & Sons, was formerly with Giro Pack, a company that packaged a lot of the potatoes for Wada Farms. And she said, "Oh, you work with Eric Beck? We call him Spud Love at Giro Pack." And so I was like, no way. And now Kristen and I call him Spud Love. And now I just encourage everyone listening today. Spud Love is here. Eric, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. That's quite the intro. I would have to say that nickname that has been coined for me over the last 3 years now has definitely gotten traction because of the Produce Moms, and so thank you.
I wish I could take the credit for it all beginning, but I guess now everyone knows. While Kristen and I have done a great job amplifying it, it really came from Denise. But so Eric, it's your big day. I mean, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. This is everyone's favorite dish on Thanksgiving has to be the mashed potatoes, right?
Yep. Potatoes during Thanksgiving tend to be the nostalgic must-have dish during the Thanksgiving holiday. It's pretty amazing to see, when it comes to potato consumption and sales and everything like that, November is our Super Bowl. And that's when we see the biggest amounts of potato movement. And I think a lot of it is because people like that nostalgic, turkey and potatoes. And the neat thing that we're seeing with potato dishes in general, not just specific to Thanksgiving, is just the culinary, artistic creativity of social media, allowing people to find new and interesting ways to prepare potato dishes. It's actually pretty fun to get on there and see how people are thinking outside the box on this traditional, just buttered up mashed potatoes. Not that those are bad. I'm good with those, but it's fun to see the new creative ways that are coming out to enjoy potatoes.
I agree. I have a potato confession. I went grocery shopping today, and so you and I are connecting. It's 9 days before Thanksgiving. We're talking right now. I bought 22 pounds of potatoes today at the grocery store.
You're just 3 pounds shy of a good 25 pounds. You'll be all right. So.
I know. I couldn't decide what type. So I was just like, I don't know. I'll buy this bag and this bag and this bag. So anyhow, it is definitely going to be a potato Thanksgiving at the Taylor residence. But how does the Beck family celebrate? Like, what's your favorite dish, or how do you prepare your potatoes?
With
a lot of love, right?
Yes, tons of love. We got the little special bowl that says Spud Love right on the side of it. And, it's, like I said, that nickname is penetrated throughout the industry, because I'll get random emails from people calling me that. And I'm like, oh, geez. But what, I've owned it. I'm good with it. And then within my own personal circle, obviously my wife, who you know very well, has shared that same nickname to our circle of friends, and so just at a random it will pop up. So I'm good with it. I like it. But nonetheless, for Thanksgiving, we tend to go more the traditional means for potato preparation. I would say it's actually interesting. My mother-in-law, my mom, and then my wife all have kind of their own unique way of preparing mashed potatoes. But I think the one that I find the most enjoyable is one that my mother-in-law does. Don't tell my mom, but my mother-in-law does it where she puts butter and sour cream and obviously some heavy cream and some other salt, pepper, and then I believe some chives, and then she just mixes it all together, instead of it being just those toppings on top of the potatoes. She mixes it all together one big whack, and so everything gets mixed into the potatoes all together, so every bite's just delicious, and it isn't just a little bit of this bite here, you might have a little bit of butter in this one, you might not. It's pretty much mixed throughout. So I'd have to say that's probably my most favorite way I've seen potatoes prepared, at least within my own family. The other way I've seen it done that I really enjoy, haven't done it a lot, but there's some people that actually put horseradish inside their mashed potatoes, and they kind of give a different flair and taste that way. And so I'd say those are probably my two personal favorites when it comes to Thanksgiving mashed potatoes.
All right. So the big debate, and I've asked you this preparing for our indie style segment, which variety of potatoes should people use to make their mashed potatoes?
That really comes down to a preference thing. Every potato has their own unique properties to it. Obviously, being an Idaho guy, I'm going to plug Idaho potatoes are the best. And so go for those Idaho potatoes.
Yeah.
But,
I bought a 10-pound bag today, Eric. I'm doing my part.
Well, good. There you go. Good. I'm glad to hear it. But,
okay.
if
So
you're wanting
Idaho
to
potatoes.
Uh-huh.
So what are the characteristics of the Idaho potatoes that make them perfect for Thanksgiving?
Well, Idaho potatoes are grown in very rich volcanic soil. Our growing conditions are ideal for potato growth. And, just
are they fluffier or are they what's the eating, the culinary characteristic? Have I stumped Spud Love?
Well, no, I'll get there. It's kind of a unique thing in potatoes. Every potato variety has its own unique characteristics. So like the Idaho Burbank in the food service world or in just restaurants in general, that's the one that everybody likes to get because it is a very fluffy, light, and kind of a drier texture potato. And just when people think of baked potatoes, they think of that light, fluffy texture. And that is characteristic of an Idaho Burbank russet potato. And so I would venture to say over probably 3/4 of the restaurants in the country all specifically reach out for that particular variety of potato just for those cooking characteristics. Now, if it came down to saying, okay, I need a Burbank versus a Dakota russet or a Ranger russet or of the hundreds of different varieties of russets out there. They're all going to do a great job. And so if you're looking for more of that light, fluffy texture, a little bit more starchy type mashed potato, I'd go with a russet potato. If you're looking for more of a creamy texture, your yellow or red variety potatoes are going to be your go-to. And then, basically that's it. If you're wanting rich and creamy, go with a red or a yellow. And if you want a light, fluffy, more starchy type, go with a russet.
I love it. You have all the potato knowledge. It's the best. No, I'm just sitting here listening to you go on, and I'm like, he really is the world's #1 potato ambassador, Spud Love. But no, it's Eric. Thank you. And I have both. I bought, like I said, one of each today at the grocery store. So I'm prepared for multiple varieties and multiple preparations. But all right. So happy Thanksgiving. When we count our blessings at the Produce Moms, Wada Farms is for sure on the list. And when I count my blessings, you're on the list. It's been a pleasure working with you. And you're such a great guy, and someone that anyone who works with you knows, you make life better. So thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving from me, Kristen, everyone at the Produce Moms. And you get to sign us off.
Well, thank you. We appreciate everything that you guys do over at the Produce Moms, and we're grateful to have that partnership with you and the rest of the team. And we wish you guys a good, happy Thanksgiving, and we look forward to more Spud Love features in the future.
Okay, continuing on. Happy Thanksgiving. We are welcoming now Jennifer Parkhill, and Jen is the executive director of Sweet Tango Apples. If you're following along with all that we're doing at the Produce Moms, you know that we are huge fans of this apple. And you know what? As a woman who gets the pleasure and privilege of working with Jen, I'm even a bigger fan of her. So when it came time to put together our Thanksgiving episode, it was a no-brainer to welcome Jen to the show today. Jen, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks, Lori. Thanks for the kind words, and thanks for having me. I feel exactly about the same about you and our partnership. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, it's been when work is as much fun as we all have together. It doesn't even feel right to call it work, but it's been a true pleasure. And shout out to all the growers at Sweet Tango for the opportunity and for putting such a dynamic woman like Jen in charge of the marketing. It's been great. So, Jen, all about Thanksgiving today. Tell us, as a woman who knows so much about fresh produce, how do you celebrate Thanksgiving? Oh, it's funny. My Thanksgivings have kind of, undulated through the years. And I think as I've gotten older and, a little wiser about, what I put in my body, it's really included more and more fresh produce and, fresh ingredients. And I think that's just so important as we move into health awareness and, just keeping our American farmers, working on our behalf and growing amazing things like the Sweet Tango apple. And I think, just getting family together and keeping, a healthy outlook, you can still, I think the main thing for me is you can still have delicious food without, really going straying too far off your, nutrition plans. And, I think that's really the most important thing, with regard to fresh produce that I love about the industry is it's just such a healthy, wonderful thing that we get from the earth. And we're so lucky to have great growers here in the United States. So that's true. And no holiday celebrates that bounty like Thanksgiving. And Jen, as you're talking, I've got this huge smile on my face because out of everyone that we work with and that my path has crossed with professionally, Jen is really someone that pushes me with my wellness goals. So Jen, how many miles do you plan to run on Thanksgiving Day? Well, actually, it's funny that you ask. I have a half marathon planned for this Sunday, and then we're all doing a turkey trot before Thanksgiving, which I say it's just a 5K, a 3.1 mile run, but it's through this beautiful
forest that we have down here in Jersey, and it's just such a great way to kind of start the day. And so I'm hoping that I can still run after I do this half marathon. It was my first, so.
Oh, well, I have full faith in you. One thing's for sure, Jen has remained very disciplined to her health and wellness goals and standards throughout all of 2020. So, but okay, any traditional dishes? I mean, how do you want folks to use Sweet Tango this holiday season?
It's funny. Apples are seen as such an individual, fruit, something that you have, just by yourself. And so last year I started with the co-op last June and had some Sweet Tangos in my refrigerator at Thanksgiving. And I make an amazing, really good and really not so good for you sausage stuffing. And I took some of those Sweet Tango apples and chopped them up and just cubed them and put them in my stuffing. And it just elevated that stuffing to where, it was kind of a salty goodness, with a little bit of sweet bread. But the Sweet Tango apples just added another layer of complexity to that dish. And it was so, so good. And it just made me think about, all the opportunities we have to add fresh produce to, dishes that we traditionally just, we follow a recipe and we've always stayed the same throughout the years. It's like, this is what, grandma always used to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I think, being, on the Sweet Tango bandwagon has done for me is, and in produce for as long as I have, I think, just making those smart switches and adding produce to existing menus and I think a green bean casserole, what could you, what kind of produce could you add to that to just kind of elevate it? And I think that's, what I would challenge everybody to do is, try something different this Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a different year. We've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot of changes. And I think it's one of those things where we could really get, some new traditions going in 2020.
That's right. Yes, I love that. And hey, Jen said it herself, the Sweet Tango, it's a great baking apple. So as you're making your pies or anything that you're adding apples to, look for the Sweet Tango.
Yeah, I think, like a sweet potato, you think about your sweet potatoes and your marshmallows, like why don't, put some of the Sweet Tangos in your sweet potatoes? That sounds amazing to me. I might try that this year.
There you go. There you go. Well, Jen, thank you for being part of this episode. Happy Thanksgiving to you. When we count our blessings at the Produce Moms, you're certainly on that list. So have a great holiday.
You. Thank you. You too. I'm happy to still be here and happy to be able to, coordinate and communicate with you and everybody at the Produce Moms.
Hey, continuing on with our Thanksgiving episode, we have an incredible woman joining us now. Her name is Kim Flores. She's with Pro Citrus Network. PCN is a Produce Moms brand partner. We are so blessed to work with them. Truly enjoy the work we do. No one in this industry has taught me more about citrus than Kim. She has a rich history in the produce sector of agriculture, and truthfully, her entire life. She grew up in Florida. Her family has, roots in Florida, and she has taught me so much about citrus, and specifically Florida citrus, which that region has had some tremendous challenges over the last few years. And Kim is just a champion for citrus growers really globally. Now at PCN, she's working with growers literally from all over the world. And it's such a pleasure to bring this woman onto the show. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I have to mention this. There are a lot of people. I mean, Kim could probably be my mom. I mean, we're about 20 years age difference, I think. I don't know. I mean, she's also like one of those people where age doesn't matter. She's a timeless friend, like her age does not matter. You connect with her regardless of where you're at in life. But Kim, when you are a generation ahead of the next rising talent, that can kind of go one of two ways. And I really discovered that when I was taking that entrepreneurial leap in 2015 to go out on my own with the Produce Moms. And from the very first trade event that I attended when I was a sole proprietor, I had like 1 or 2 clients and that's it. And a whole lot of confidence and hope that, people would believe in me. And Kim is an example of one of those females who was an established leader in this industry. And from the very beginning, she had confidence in me and she has helped me rise up. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I got to call it out because there's not very many people. And I don't think there's, I think that we like to say that we want to lift others and help them. But at the end of the day, when we all truthfully evaluate our pathways, you're fortunate if you meet a woman like Kim Flores who actually walks that talk.
Lori.
So Kim, I'm so glad you're here because you have helped me so much. And I can't do a Thanksgiving episode without you.
Well, thank you, Lori. You're just entirely too kind. Before this call, when I said, please, no, don't give me any accolades, I shouldn't have said anything because you slathered it on way too thick.
No, it's true, girl. It's true.
But thank you
and it is
much.
something that's profound. I mean, you think about that, Kim. How many people in your life have had that kind of role that you've had to me? And I know there's others in the industry who would agree with me that you're that type of dynamic leader who is willing to bring the next generation, the younger talent under your wing and help them rise up. It's a big deal.
It's not even an effort or even a thought on my end. Really, the first time I met you, I just saw that spark in you and I knew that you were destined to do great things. So for me, that's just what we do. People helping people, I'm just one beggar showing another beggar to the food line. You know what I mean?
You're right. Well, you are the spirit of generosity in all that you do. So how do you celebrate Thanksgiving?
Well, first of all, I'm grateful to be here today, and Thanksgiving is absolutely my favorite holiday, hands down. It's all about gratitude. It's all about time with family, and it's all about food. 3 basic things really that you should have in your life every day, in my opinion. So without a doubt, Thanksgiving is my favorite time of year when, you're able to just you're forced to reconnect with those that mean the most in your life. Not really forced, but in the spirit of being grateful, having people around you that you love that's the absolute best. And then to have the food, I mean, come on,
This is our industry's big day, if you can't tell folks. So
exactly. I mean,
so what's a traditional recipe? I mean, what do you always have on the Thanksgiving table, Kim?
Well, it's such a hard decision. And, I, in the spirit of family, I polled our PCN family team. I went out and asked everyone their opinion. And I got all sorts of answers. Turkey came out on the top. Stuffing was next, then pumpkin pie, and then we had a whole, mashed potatoes, sweet potato pie, apple pie, green bean casserole. Cannot have a Thanksgiving without that. That happened one time in my family, and my daughter will never ever forget that for the rest of her life. But 3 of my favorites. And it's really hard for me to pick. So sweet potato souffle, my mom has always made that from the time I was a little girl with, fresh sweet potatoes and the marshmallows on top. And then one recipe that came along over the years was this cranberry pear crisp. You use fresh cranberries and pears and oats and brown sugar, and it is just amazing. It's got all these great flavors. And then, of course, a pumpkin roll is a family favorite as well. Not so much of mine, but everybody in my family knows that that's going to be one of the things that I'll provide that they can't really do without.
They can count on Kim for the pumpkin roll. I love it. No, that sounds good. And the cranberry and pear. Did you say it was a crumble? It sounds amazing. What a great combo. Yeah.
It's kind of like a crisp. Yeah, it's like a little bit of a crumble, but yeah, you bake it and it's absolutely marvelous. But as far as citrus, I mean, citrus is such a versatile thing to incorporate in any meal. One year we made these really neat orange sweet potato souffles in the orange shell. Like we hollowed out cut
like
the orange in half.
And then,
we cut the orange in half, scooped it out, and used part of the oranges and juice for the mix with the souffle, put them back in that orange half. So everybody had their own little bowl that was made out of an orange. It was really a neat touch. It was a little more work, but it was really something pretty special. It looked great on the table too.
Oh, I bet. And I always, speaking of making the table look great, my husband and I recently started doing the turkey for my family's Thanksgiving meal. And we always use citrus. Like we'll put the bird on the platter and we'll put citrus, cross-section citrus around it. It makes it look so pretty.
Oh, absolutely.
And in the world of Instagram, everyone needs to, spend the extra time on Thanksgiving to do a little, plate design and tablescaping with your food. So no, I love it.
Right.
So how, and a great tip with the hollowed out oranges, cranberry relish, I have to ask you, with or without citrus, and do you use juice or do you use whole, like diced up citrus?
Oh, that's a tough one. I traditionally have not used it, but I know my sister-in-law, she's very adamant about making that fresh cranberry sauce with the oranges. And she grew up in California, so I guess it was a lot more common in her area, but I kind of prefer it without it, but I love it both ways. Don't get me wrong. I won't not have it just because it's got orange in it, but yeah.
So how do you want everyone to use citrus this Thanksgiving?
Oh, I would say make some, it's kind of, I was going to say make a nice punch, but this is the days of COVID. I guess punch is another casualty of COVID,
Put enough whiskey in it, Kim, and it might be okay.
Right. You won't see punch bowls anymore after COVID. But I would say sangria is great too, any cocktails, of course, but sangria and just punch in general. Fresh juice, especially fresh squeezed juice, there's nothing else like it. And, to be able to incorporate that in some kind of holiday beverage is great. It's to me, it's kind of a no brainer because you're right in you're going into the domestic citrus season. So, that I think people inherently associate citrus with that time of year with the holidays and going into the winter. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Oh, Kim, thank you for everything. You truly are among the world's greatest. So thank you for being part of this. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be part of TPM's partners. It's a blessing to work with you, Lori, and just to watch all that you're doing for the industry and everyone and how you've grown. I'm just so proud to be your friend. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. Okay, happy Thanksgiving. It continues with another one of our guests from the archives. So thrilled to welcome back to the show, Mason Arnold. He is from all the way back, episode 26. So way back in the day. But Mason, oh my gosh, what an incredible impact he has had on households everywhere with his innovative brand, Cece's Veggie Company. This is the company that makes the veggie noodles that you love, and they've really diversified. They've got like buffalo cauliflower and cauliflower and cheese that like mimics mac and cheese, so it'll satisfy those cravings. They've got a new delicata squash fry that is gaining a lot of buzz, and I love it. And you know what? We've got Mason on the line, so I'm not going to keep going here. I'm just going to welcome him to the show, and we're going to talk about how he, his family, and Cece's Veggie Company celebrates Thanksgiving. So Mason, welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be on.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you're back. You've accomplished so much since episode 26. Lots of changes for everyone in that time frame, but just so proud of you and so proud of the growth that your great brand has had and truly enjoy and smile every time I have the opportunity to buy it when I'm grocery shopping. So
thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. So tell us, how do you celebrate Thanksgiving, Mason?
Yeah, so the tradition we've always had, my mom just loves to cook massive meals. And so we always go over to her house. And my last company was a grocery delivery company. And we worked with local farmer who do turkeys. And so we were the only people in Central Texas where because we were used to produce, we would get fresh turkeys and we would have them slaughtered Wednesday before or Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and then deliver them all on Wednesday so that people in town could have local heritage breed, fresh, never frozen turkeys. And so I've been a little spoiled on that from the turkey perspective.
I'd say so, yeah.
And then, but lately, sometime last year, someone posted something about delicata squash and how you could turn them into fries. And so I found that very interesting. And so I started looking into it, and it was last fall. And so started playing around with it right around Thanksgiving, and ended up, putting some like paprika and garlic on it, and a couple times roasted them in the oven, fried them on the pan. But I just loved them so much that I brought them to all of my Thanksgiving, happenings that were going on. And everyone loved them, that it all of a sudden became an instant Thanksgiving tradition now, where people are asking if I'm bringing the delicata squash fries again because everyone loved them so much.
I love it. So what you're saying is Mason Arnold's Thanksgiving is also Cece's Veggie Company product innovation.
Yeah. A lot of my holidays end up being a little bit, celebration and a little bit R&D.
That's right. That's right. No, it's wonderful. So, Tell us one item that you really hope that today's listeners consider adding to their Thanksgiving table.
That I would say it's the delicata squash fries. It is delicata squash is very seasonal, only is around in the fall. It's got an absolutely delicious kind of nutty flavor that fits right in with, I think, the kind of the Thanksgiving spread in general. And the interior to the squash has this wonderful, smooth, nutty texture. And then you leave the skin on, and so you get a crispy kind of outside to it. And so it ends up just being, right next to the your sweet potato dishes and such. And everywhere that I brought it, it got cleaned out long before the sweet potatoes did.
Yeah, no, I will second that. Anytime I serve delicata squash, it's a big hit. And Mason, I thank you so much for being part of this episode. And truthfully, everyone, delicata squash, I mean, my goodness, we've had it brought up now twice on this episode. So maybe we should declare it the official veggie of this Thanksgiving. It's all the rage with these folks that know produce the best. And Mason, thank you so much for being part of this episode. Thank you for the great work you do and the innovative, convenient products that you bring to households like mine everywhere through Cece's Veggie Company. And just happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy the holidays.
All right. On to the show right now. We are welcoming Megan Mitchell. Megan is joining us from the great state of Washington. She and I have, we became quick friends. She worked in the produce industry for years, was instrumental in the Produce Moms partnership with Crunch Pack. And now she is working at the family winery. Just couldn't adore this woman more. She's made a tremendous impact on the Produce Moms brand growth. She has believed in what we do from the very beginning. And Megan, I am so thrilled to welcome you to the podcast and have you share a little bit about how you and your loved ones celebrate Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, thank you, Lori. That's quite the introduction. And I'm blushing with everything you said. I think half of it was a lie. I just really love you and what TPM does. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thanks, Megan. So tell us a little bit more about how are things at the winery? I mean, I think everyone in all these produce industry professionals that we've interviewed for this show, they're probably like listening to your story thinking, man, I should go work for the family winery.
Yeah, the wine business is not a bad business to be in. It's always about product testing. especially now in 2020, lots of product testing and the joy to be almost done with harvest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. So Fielding Hills is the name of the family winery. And tell us a little bit more about where you all are at and how you and your family celebrate Thanksgiving and every holiday.
Yeah, great question. So the winery started back in 2000. The location of the vineyard is in Washington State, and the production facility is also in Washington State. The winery started because the Red Delicious apple market was tanking. It was a slow couple of years for Red Delicious sales and production. We ripped out some Red Delicious trees in our family orchards and planted about 24 acres worth of red wine grapes. Fast forward to 2020, and we've got about a little under 30 acres located in the Wahluke Slope AVA, which is in the Columbia Basin of Washington, if anyone listening is familiar with that area. And then we produce several red varietals, several white, and a rosé every year. We do about 3,000 cases, and it times up perfectly with Thanksgiving because harvest finishes just about now, maybe in about 2 weeks. And then you tuck the barrels away, tuck the wine away, and get to focus on family and enjoy some of the literal fruits of your labor with the people you love. So it's all kind of wrapped together in family and produce, and a great story to share.
I love that. Yes. And I have ordered many cases of the Fielding Hills wine right here to my doorstep in Indiana. And it's always fun to share your family story with anyone that I open a bottle of Fielding Hills with. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So let's talk recipes. Let's talk traditional dishes. What fruit or vegetable is always on your family's Thanksgiving table?
So the one that's always on our table, and I think for me, it's great to enjoy it, but it's also more about making the dish, is we have a family recipe. We call it cranberry ice. And it was my great-grandmother's recipe from my dad's side of the family. And it's really pretty simple. It's just like a palate cleanser that we always have next to our plate. You kind of have it maybe between bites of turkey or after you finish your plate and you're waiting for dessert. It's again, really simple, just cranberry, ginger ale, lots of sugar, and it's kind of like an ice cream or like
like a sorbet type thing.
Yeah, like a sorbet. And
cool.
I really like it because like most people, I don't eat a lot of cranberries throughout the year. And so it's just like this awesome flavor bomb. And I have such great memories of being a kid and making it with my dad. We still use the same sieve that my great-grandmother used. So it's, again, just kind of all of that family and tradition wrapped into produce.
I love that. That's great. And so family, are you pitching in, or is one person doing all the cooking and hosting?
It's kind of a mix. We've got like our staple traditional recipes that we all expect on Thanksgiving. And then I recently been married this past year, so I'm really excited to try some new dishes from his side of the family and bring them into mine. So it's kind of a y'all pitch in effort, but we definitely, everyone has the cranberry ice. That's the core expectation. We've actually made it for friends and family who have been like out of the state for the holidays and wanted it at their tables. So it's got a reputation of its own.
Okay. Well, we're going to need to get this recipe on the producemoms.com, Megan, if the family will unveil it. All right. So since can't have a member of the Fielding Hills Winery family on the show and not ask, what are the must-have wines on the Thanksgiving table?
Yeah. Well, lots of them in my family. We, like I said,
bingo. There you go. There's the answer of all answers. Lots of them.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, carry on with the varieties.
Yeah, I think a core staple on our Thanksgiving dinner table is our cab. It's a big fruit-forward cab with some great barrel notes, some like vanilla, and it really, I think, stands up to the variety of dishes that you have at Thanksgiving. Some dishes can be, on the sweeter side, so you need something to cut through there. Or like with turkey, it's not obviously a red meat, so maybe it needs something with it that brings out more of the flavors, depending on how you cook it. So our cab sauv is a go-to for our table. Me personally, I like to start any sort of big meal, especially with when you're going to be eating a lot, with a white wine. And we've recently introduced a Roussanne to our lineup, and not a lot of people are familiar with Roussanne. I like to introduce ours as the red wine drinker's white. So it has that like big, bold flavor that you want and that you crave in kind of like a red wine, but it's a white wine. So it's not that over buttery Chardonnay that maybe you can only have one glass of, but it's a wine that can sustain throughout the dinner if you're a white wine fan. But I like to mix it up and have red and white during big meals like this. You gotta
and then
have
bubbles
everything
afterwards. Yeah.
Yes.
Champagne
Yes.
for dessert.
Yes.
No, I agree. I definitely have a red and a white with my Thanksgiving as well. Oh, Megan, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show, have you share a little bit more about your family's traditions. A question we're going to ask everyone: pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Oh, I gotta say apple. A Kanzi apple pie.
Oh, well, there you go. Spoken like a true gal from Washington. Vote for the
Yes.
apple.
Yes.
Megan, thank you so much for being our guest today. And I hope that you and your family have the happiest Thanksgiving of all time.
Yes. Cheers, Lori, and to everyone out there listening. I hope you're surrounded by friends and family and a good bottle of wine on Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Carrying on now, we're going to Salinas, California, and we are welcoming the Senior Director of Marketing for Duda Farm Fresh Foods. That is the grower of everyone's favorite brand of celery, radishes, corn, and other great vegetable items, the Dandy brand. And Nicole Tal is our guest. And Nicole, we're so glad you're here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Lori. Happy to be here.
Thank you. All right. So I know that we've chuckled about this offline, actually through email today. Thanksgiving, it's Duda's big day. I mean, this is celery. This is Thanksgiving. This is you guys are this is the real veggie that everyone's using today.
It is for sure our time to shine. Everyone loves celery in their stuffing, and kind of that onion and celery smell on Thanksgiving morning of starting your stuffing recipe. That's the big day. We're ready.
All right. Good to hear. So, when we were talking about this episode coming up, I mean, certainly would love any of your traditions, like we've asked some of the other guests, but we also thought it'd be a great idea, Nicole, to share a little bit more about some facts about celery. Like the one thing that I know you guys receive a lot of at Duda, and we certainly receive it too, is why the strings in celery. And some consumers view it as a nuance or a turnoff, and I think a lot of consumers misunderstand it. So why don't we start with that, and then we'll close your remarks with some of your and Ralph's traditions.
Sure. So if you think of celery strings, much like the veins in your body, that's how we feed the plant, or nature feeds the plant. So when it's out in the field growing and we're watering that, it needs those veins to feed itself or to hydrate itself. So if we were to take them out completely, we wouldn't have a plant. So what we do, and what the researchers do here, is they work on the crispness or the texture, so that when you bite into that piece of celery, it crunches, which what you're familiar with, and those strings just completely bite off. So we can still have the natural plant. It can feed itself, and then we are not experiencing the really fine texture of that. So that's what the researchers do. And again, working with Mother Nature, it's all natural. There's nothing Frankenstein's happening, but that's why it takes so many years to perfect that growing of celery. And we have about 160 years worth of celery research, part of which is purchased and part of which is done on our own time. So that's why we consider having, our own proprietary varieties, the sweeter and more crisp or less stringy celery on the market.
Right. So in other words, there is, for everyone who has emailed Nicole or us saying, is there a such thing as a stringless celery? In short, the answer is no.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have no way to grow it.
Right.
No way to feed itself. So there is no option.
Right. And really, when you think about it, all of these fruits have, look at a leaf of lettuce and you'll see the little veins, like what Nicole is explaining, how the plant feeds itself. So this really is just the way nature intended it to be. And that's one reason we love everyone at Duda so much and respect your farming operation. They're doing it the way nature intended for it to be. And obviously always investing in the innovation and the research to make sure that us as consumers get the tastiest, sweetest, best eating experience possible.
Love it.
Yes. All right, Nicole. So I gotta put you in the hot seat. Your husband, Ralph, was a former podcast guest. And so what dish do you and Ralph always make or always look forward to on Thanksgiving?
So Ralph is a transplant to California from Florida. So for our family, everyone has come to know Ralph as the sweet corn. And he brings cream style sweet corn fresh. And that is kind of our notoriety now and what we're known to bring for family Thanksgiving.
Oh,
so it's
that's
kind
perfect.
of a little bit of the Southern style out here in California. And it goes fast. Everybody loves it.
I bet. Yeah, no, it sounds great. Okay, Ralph, I've made Ralph and Nicole my signature recipe, which I probably shouldn't admit this, but it's Chex Mix. So no vegetables at all in it. But you know what? So here's what I'll say to Ralph and Nicole. I'll trade you a batch of Chex Mix for a batch of your cream corn. It sounds delicious.
Absolutely. We're on with that.
All right. Well, food is culture. It's how we celebrate and love. And so much of what we do on Thanksgiving involves the Dandy brand. So Nicole, thank you for all your hard work and your role in helping us all celebrate this special holiday.
Thank you, Lori. It was great to be here today.
All right. Next up on our Thanksgiving episode showcasing people who love produce the most, we are welcoming back one of our previous podcast guests from episode 104, Miss Stephanie Sasso. She is she's a registered dietitian and the nutritionist for the Good Housekeeping Institute. So Stephanie, welcome back to the show and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you. I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
Oh, thanks. So same question we're asking everyone today. How do you celebrate Thanksgiving? What are the iconic dishes? What kind of role does fruits and vegetables have in your celebration?
Totally. So my family is Greek, so it's a lot of Greek traditional food. But of course, I like to call my family a big fit Greek family. So we cook the traditional Greek stuff, but we really do make an effort to incorporate as much healthy, options as we can. So my favorite thing and my contribution every year to Thanksgiving is always a roasted vegetable. And the veggie that I've been obsessed with these past couple Thanksgivings and have been making it really all fall is delicata squash. That is my absolute favorite roasted veggie. Oh, it's to die for. What I like about it is that it's easier to cut than like a butternut squash or other winter squashes for prep. Like that makes a big, big difference. And you can eat the skin of it, which is really easy. So all you do is you chop it in half lengthwise, you scoop out the seeds, and you put it into half moons. And then I'll put it on a tray with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper. And one of my friends at Good Housekeeping, one of my colleagues that works in kitchen appliances, she gave me the best tip, which is, I always hate little pieces of like rosemary or, thyme that's kind of scattered through. So all you do is you just put a sprig of rosemary and thyme on the baking sheet, right? Just with the delicata squash. And as you let it roast, those flavors will naturally infuse into the squash without having those little pesky, like sharp pieces of rosemary and thyme.
Yeah.
So
that will undoubtedly get stuck in your teeth. And then when you smile for the holiday picture, you got a big old
totally
glob of rosemary in your teeth. Yes, I've been there. I love that tip. What a great tip that is. And it's just like the aromatics as they're roasting, those sprigs stay whole, but they don't get on. And I also think too, Stephanie, for all of our moms with us today, little specks of fresh herbs on the veggies can be a game changer for kids. Like the kid might choose the veggie, but if it's got green stuff sprinkled on it, forget it. So that's a really great tip. I love it.
Yeah, totally. And I think, roasting it too just brings out such a beautiful flavor. It has such a nice sweet flavor compared to other squash. And it's so nutrient dense. I mean, it's packed with vitamin C and fiber and potassium and a slew of other nutrients, right? But it's also going to be a low calorie choice. So you're really getting, so many plant-based nutrients for, really little caloric density and things like that. And it's just so pretty too. I mean, I think like it's just so pretty to look at, and your food has to be pretty. I mean, especially for Thanksgiving, looking at the full Thanksgiving table, it's such a perfect addition. It has this beautiful like yellow orangey hue. And the fact that you're able to eat it with the skin sounds weird to people, right? But you're getting so much nutrition in that skin and texture. And when it roasts up, the skin is just perfectly tender. And it's such a perfect addition to really any holiday meal or any fall meal for that matter. It's great in the season for sure.
Yeah. And one thing I've done with the, roasted delicata or even acorn squash, if you can't get your hands on delicata, you can do this exact same method that Stephanie has described. I dice it up into like cubes, like 1 inch or smaller cubes, roast it, and then I will bring it to room temperature and I'll add it to the salad too. So love that. Yeah. And I'm obsessed with it. I think it's delicious. It's sweet. It is. I feel like I'm celebrating the season when I roast up a delicata or acorn squash or any squash for that matter at this time of year. But Stephanie, it's been a pleasure bringing you on. I mean, I'm sure at this time of year at Good Housekeeping, it's got to be one of the craziest times for you, the same way it is for a lot of our farmers.
Totally. And, for us, it's especially with everything that's going on right now, it's really getting innovative about how can you make this holiday season special under these circumstances and also a little bit more unique from previous years, and to your point with the roasted veggies in salad, that is a game changer. And I highly recommend it for anyone because it really elevates any salad and gives it just such a deep flavor and so delicious. So good.
Yes. Make those dishes that will be remembered for holidays to come. Make the dish this season that will be the new family favorite or the new traditional dish that you will be bringing each and every year. So Stephanie, thank you so much for all that you do. I smile a big, huge smile every time I open my Good Housekeeping magazine and see your content or open up the website or the social media and see what you're contributing and how you are such a staunch and passionate advocate for all things fruits and vegetables. Thank you from everyone in the produce industry for your work and your passion.
Oh, and likewise to you. I mean, your content makes me so happy and I'm just so excited to be here talking with you.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right. So now we're headed to New York City and we are welcoming Stephanie Katzman to the show. Stephanie is with S. Katzman Produce. They're a wholesale distribution company based in New York City. And Stephanie is the executive vice president, 4th generation in her family business. And she's with us now on the Thanksgiving episode. Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're so glad you're here. Stephanie is a force of positivity. She's a female force in the industry, and she really knows, obviously 4th generation in the wholesale distribution stage of the supply chain, that's a tough stage of the supply chain. That is where the hustlers are at. And Stephanie and I met, gosh, it's probably been 3 years ago now, and just, connected, hit it right off, and couldn't think of a better person to come on and be part of this show. So Stephanie, tell our listeners a little bit more about you briefly, your family company, and what you do in New York City.
Absolutely. Well, you hit it right on the head. We are definitely in the hustle and bustle of the supply chain. So we're right where the action happens. And I think that's perfect for this type of holiday, because what else is there about Thanksgiving except fun, family, and food? And that energy in the market just goes right into the holiday. So it's definitely one of the busiest times of year for us in the industry. And definitely on a personal level, one of my favorite times of year as well. We're a wholesaler distributor, like you said, so we deal in full line of produce, all fresh fruits and vegetables. So everything that hits your Thanksgiving table is going to come through our market and into the retail stores.
I love that. And no city hustles like New York. So this is like, of all the wholesale distributors, this is, the queen hustler of them all. But no, this is great. So Stephanie, your family, you've been in food obviously now for at least 4 generations. And how do you guys celebrate? What's your traditional Thanksgiving dish that either you bring or that you always look forward to having on your holiday table?
So I have 2 personal favorites. So we do Thanksgiving. That is the one holiday throughout the year that our family gets together. Ever since I was little, we've always done it together, and it's the same meals that come across the table. So my 2 favorite dishes are the sweet potato casserole my mom does and our noodle kugel. So the sweet potato casserole is excellent. It's where I come in and I help, because I'm in charge of bringing home the box of sweet potatoes from the market. We peel them, boil them, put them in a pan, add a little pineapple, a little mandarins, a little drizzle of maple syrup, and then we bake them. And then the secret ingredient is right before she puts them on the table, my mom will cover them in marshmallows, stick them in the broiler so they get that nice like s'more marshmallow kind of texture.
Yeah.
And it is just delicious.
I love that. And I love that you sweeten it with mandarins and pineapple.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Fruit and vegetable combo.
Yeah, I'm going to do that and pay tribute to the Katzman family this holiday season. No, thank you for the tip. And tell us a little bit more about the noodle kugel. That's a very traditional dish as well.
Yeah, so she does 2 types of kugels. One that we usually serve during the meal, and that one we add some spinach to it. So you get your nice veggie in there. And then one that she usually serves around dessert time in the meal, if there's any room left. And it's noodles and cheese and milk and cream and little brown sugar and breadcrumbs on top. And it is just delectable.
Oh, sounds so good. Well, Stephanie, it's been one of those years where I think we can all take some time to reflect on our blessings and have a little bit more gratitude in our heart as we go into Thanksgiving 2020. But any closing remarks or wishes for our listeners today?
I think you really said it best, that this Thanksgiving is really a time when we reflect on this past year and how challenging it has been, and really how we've been able to come together as a company, as a family. We've seen it in the community. We've seen it with our own employees here. We've seen it at home. It's just been something where we all look forward to sitting around the table next week and just really enjoying ourselves and kind of getting back what it really means to be family and have dinner together.
Okay, continuing on with our Happy Thanksgiving Special Edition podcast. Really excited about this next guest. We are welcoming Tiffany Rose. Tiffany and I, frankly, we became friends through Instagram. Tiffany and I follow one another on Instagram. She's a huge supporter of what we do at the Produce Moms. She is also the founder of the marketing company Wink Sprout, and just a beautiful human being inside and out. And I've truly enjoyed getting to know her through Instagram. And now here she is on the podcast. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. That was such a lovely intro. And I feel the same way about you. You know, we laugh and we have shared so many things, you know, over the phone, and our love of Instagram and healthy cooking. And I'm so happy we've met, and thanks for having me on your podcast. I'm excited.
Well, thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here. So obviously with her beautiful accent, you're probably all able to recognize that Tiffany, she was actually UK born. So this is kind of a unique spin on such an iconic American holiday. Tiffany, did you grow up celebrating Thanksgiving, or was this something that was new to you when you came to the States, I'm assuming?
Yeah, no. So I was born in Scotland, and then I was raised in London, and we would only ever see Thanksgiving on like Home Alone or in an American movie. And we would all be like, Thanksgiving, it's so close to Christmas. Like, why do they have 2 Christmas dinners? And now that I live here, I really understand and I really enjoy celebrating Thanksgiving. It's the end of the year. You're looking at, what you've loved in the year and being around your loved ones and cooking, and everybody brings something along. And, it's such a wonderful celebration, and I really embrace it, even though I am British. I'm an American citizen now, by the way, but it's still a special holiday to me, and I think British people should do it too. It's such a lovely thing to celebrate.
It is, and it is my favorite holiday, primarily because it's all about gratitude. It's just such a nice holiday to slow down. There's no presents involved, or really the only obligation is gather around the table with people you love and have a great meal. And that's really what, if I were to pick the perfect day in my life, that's what I'd pick to do. So I love Thanksgiving. Yeah. So
and all the smells and everything as well. I don't know. Some people decorate for Christmas already by Thanksgiving, and you've got the lights and the food. And I think the food's like, the night before Thanksgiving, you're all thinking about, what you're going to eat the next day and what you're going to have doubles of. So
that's
at least I am.
So what is your favorite go-to, or what's the dish that your family looks forward to you preparing for Thanksgiving?
I'm a real carb girl, and I love my carbs. So, and I don't actually like turkey. I've never liked turkey. So I primarily eat vegetarian, and I have a little bit of fish and a little chicken. So I always make a chicken just because I don't like turkey. So I make a nice roast chicken and just all the trimmings. And it's very American to have the sweet potato with the marshmallows.
Oh yeah, like a sweet potato souffle or casserole.
Oh my gosh, so good. And then the green beans, my girlfriend hosted last year in the hilltops in Malibu, and it was just beautiful. And she made this green bean casserole and the yams with the marshmallows, and oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah, it is definitely the
What
day
about you? What's your favorite?
Well, it's the green beans, but for me, I've got this passion where green bean casserole should not all come from a can. And so I have made it like one of my missions at the Produce Moms to inspire folks to make fresh ingredient green bean casseroles. So that's probably my favorite. We've published every year in partnership with our brand partners at Eat Smart. We've done a different variation of a 100% fresh ingredient green bean casserole. So that's been a ton of fun. And
I'll tell you why, I love the Produce Moms as well, because some people, they don't want to make the effort to be healthy. And I get that. We don't want to spend 2 or 3 hours in the kitchen every single day for ourselves and our kids. It's that your recipes are tasty and easy, and they incorporate real wholesome ingredients, whole foods. But you'll also add a little cheese, you'll add a little flavor. So it's not boring. You don't feel like you're on a diet, and nobody likes being on a diet.
Isn't that the truth? Well, thank you, Tiffany. That's exactly it. And you're a mom. I'm a mom. All moms can relate to that. It's like, no, we don't want to, it can't be too arduous, or it's not going to get done. Because what's hard? Being a mom is hard. Cooking for your family shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I'm not going to, I'm never going to be that person weighing my food on a scale and thinking, oh, too much butter or too much this. Butter is actually good for you, just not too much of it.
Yeah.
So I always look at your recipes, and I know Tori Spelling as well was when we did the campaign with her that you were involved with, she was super blown away by, your recipes online. And she was like, oh, Stella, my daughter would love these. And, she's a produce mom as well. We all are.
Well, thank you, Tiffany. You're the best. And I appreciate that. And, I here's what I have to say to everyone who's listening. No matter what you're preparing this Thanksgiving, the number one ingredient is always love. So prepare it with love and everything will work out just fine. And don't forget your fruits and vegetables in the journey too. And anytime you're choosing a fruit or vegetable, you're making an excellent choice. So Tiffany, we've talked sweet potatoes, we've talked green beans, we've talked gratitude, we've talked about how you and I have met. Is there anything else you'd like to say with our audience today?
There's a little tip that I have. Before I was marketing, I was an actress and a model, and I was doing a movie in Italy, and I was living and working with real Italians on set. And I just thought I was going to eat pizza and pasta every day, and it was going to be amazing because Italian food is incredible. But they all real Italians all start with a small side of a salad, a small salad. They all start, and it's a very simple green salad. And I would be like, why do you all start with a green salad? And it's for digestion. So I've taken this with me, through my whole life now, that if you can just start your meal with something green, a salad, start with the green beans, try and fill up on something that has fiber in it. It's going to make you fuller quicker and digest all the other carbs and all the sugar and all the fat you're eating so much better than just starting on, the heavy food. So eat like an Italian. That's what I say.
Oh, I love it. All right. And happy Thanksgiving to you, Tiffany. I will see you on Instagram. I'm certainly grateful for all that you've been in my life and this great intercession of our professional journeys. And it's turned into a great friendship. So we're glad you're here and I'm thankful for you. So happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you so much, Lori, to you and yours as well. And thank you again for having me on your amazing podcast. Everybody needs to listen to your podcast. It's brilliant.
All right. Another person who knows produce the best joining us on our special edition Thanksgiving episode here at the Produce Moms Podcast. Super excited to welcome Trisha Bramley. Trish and I have met over the last really just couple months. She serves as the Director of Marketing and Communications at the National Mango Board. Mangoes, fun fact for everyone, most popular fruit in the world. And we're still working on getting their popularity up in the United States, but they're on an exciting trend in terms of, produce consumption, mango consumption and sales here in the US. So we're going to keep that rolling. But I thought, man, Trish would be a great person to bring on this show, share her expertise. And I got to do it since every time I talk to Trisha, we have a little banter. She's a graduate from The Ohio State University. I went to IU, and Trish, the Indiana Hoosiers are doing pretty good with football this year.
I know. You guys are actually tearing it up. I'm pretty impressed. I have to say, a little bit worried for when we actually meet up. So it's giving me a little bit of heartburn right now.
That's right. Well, hey, welcome to this show, and tell our audience how you celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. For me, for Thanksgiving, we have traditions, and that's always been something that my family celebrated over the last couple of years. Everybody's been dotted throughout the country. So, you really get to test whether or not those traditions stand the test of time and the test of distance. And so, for me, for Thanksgiving, it's always been about making those traditional foods that I grew up eating and enjoying with my family. I'll tell you, I am, and this is probably blasphemy, but I am 100% a sides kind of girl. Never really have been interested in the turkey, much to my mom's dismay of, spending hours trying to get it just right in the oven. And I always preferred the sides.
Well, you know what? I think that's a welcome sentiment here in the produce industry. We're all about the side dish.
Yeah. I tried. I have a little bit of turkey just to say that I did it. And, it's the place to do on Thanksgiving. But for the most part, I've always been about the sides. And, there's some foods that are just non-negotiables for not having. My grandma would always make turkey noodle soup in the morning. And that's what we would start our day with, so eating turkey noodle soup at 9:00 in the morning was always an interesting way to start our Thanksgiving. But I'll tell you what, it really just kind of kickstarted the day.
Yeah.
And, it was always a mix of trying to introduce maybe some new things, right? Or to put a spin on them. I love my mom to death, but she's not much of a culinary whiz as far as pairing some new things. So as I got older, I always tried to introduce some newer items just to kind of mix it up a little bit and add some variety. But, there are those staples that no matter what, even if we aren't together, I still have to put on the table, like her stuffing, for example, is something that's legendary. And I don't make it as good as she does, no way, but definitely something that always hits the table.
I love it. My family celebrates in a pretty traditional way too. Potatoes, green beans, stuffing, all the iconic sides. So Tricia, what do you think about mangoes? How is the mango board encouraging folks to incorporate mangoes into their Thanksgiving feast?
Yeah, it's awesome because mangoes are actually super versatile. They're delicious too, right? So as soon as everybody figures out how delicious mangoes are, it's just going to skyrocket. I know it. But they're really, really versatile, and they pair great in dishes that are sweet, but then they're also a really great complements to dishes that are savory. So, for example, like my mom's stuffing is absolutely legendary. Since I've been with the mango board, I've had the ability to make stuffing that actually incorporated mango in it. And I'll tell you what, you get the savory notes from the traditional elements like the celery and the chicken stock and the bread or the cornbread itself. But then you add those hints of that sweet mango in there, and it just elevates the stuffing to a completely new level. We experimented within the mango board just recently too, and made stuffing with jalapeno and the mango in there. And again, that pairing is unbelievable. Yeah. So it just kind of takes that traditional stuffing that I'm used to having on the table and adds a different spin to it. That's really, really delightful and unexpected.
Yeah. Hey, spice it up. It's 2020. Why not do an unexpected stuffing?
There are no rules this year.
Oh, Trish, I love it. I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Any closing thoughts or holiday wishes for our listeners today?
I just hope everybody stays safe, stays healthy, continues to eat really good things, experiments in their kitchens, and finds some comfort in the holidays as we wrap up a year that just really nobody could have predicted.
Well, there you have it.
All our favorite produce items for Thanksgiving.
I hope the episode has left you all inspired. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for all your help. We are truly humbled with your support. I mean, this podcast, we started it in 2018. Kristen and I drove down to Nashville and recorded that first episode, and we just continue to be blown away by the support and response from you all, our community on this show. So as we think about Thanksgiving, definitely top of my list is for sure the people that make the Produce Moms possible, and our listeners, our fans, our followers. You're a huge part of that, as is my team, as is my family, and as is all of the folks in fresh produce that believe in what we do. And this was just a small sampling of those people that we were able to showcase today on the episode. So Kristen, sign us off from the great Thanksgiving episode 2020.
Yeah, and we wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Once again, we are so thankful for all of you, all of your support, and we're excited to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.